This is by far the most awe-inspiring wildlife encounter I've ever had. This is getting ridiculous now, these views. South Georgia, stop it. Never in a million years did I ever think I'd get to visit here. Everywhere you look, so rich with wildlife. You've got to make a little extra effort to get to the good bits.
I'm Saunders and welcome to part 2 of my small ship expedition with Swoop. Where we left off in part 1, we'd completed our exploration of the Antarctic Peninsula and Elephant Island and are on our way to South Georgia and the Falklands. Let's get straight back into the adventure a little off the coast of South Georgia, where we were able to get up close to a natural phenomenon making headlines all over the globe.
This is the very famous A23A iceberg. We're just sailing along the coast of it now. It's bigger than South Georgia. You hear a lot of stories about it. You hear about the size of it, you know, twice the size of Greater London or the size of Rhode Island, but seeing it in your own eyes, it just doesn't compute how big it is, how intact it is, and how far it's already travelled. That came off the ice shelf almost 40 years ago, and it's still that big. Wow, it's incredible. Overnight we've arrived in South Georgia, and today we have woken up to the most spectacular view. Gorgeous landscape, glaciers, beaches filled with king penguins and seals. Time to explore.
Hey, welcome to South Georgia, welcome to Gold Harbor. Now this is really the most beautiful place in the world today.
Mario, our expedition guide, was not wrong. Gold Harbour is one of South Georgia's most densely populated wildlife havens and one of the most breathtaking landing sites on the island.
Everywhere you look, every single frame is just so rich with wildlife.
King penguins, fur seals, most of them pups at this time of the year, living side by side with an awe-inspiring backdrop.
It's quite easy to be distracted by just the sheer crazy amounts of different wildlife just everywhere you look. But when you do actually stop and take a moment and realise the environment we're in, the landscape is like nothing I've ever seen.
An incredible start to our exploration of South Georgia, but we had no idea of the life-changing experiences that were still to come.
It's time for our next location in South Georgia. This time something a bit different because we're going to be doing a hike up this ridge here. Get a different perspective of this, quite frankly, stunning bay. This is just, South Georgia is the gift that keeps on giving. Never thought I'd be taking layers off in a sub-Antarctic island, but it's actually a lovely day in South Georgia. This hike just keeps getting better. It's like an amalgamation of Antarctica with the Faroe Islands, with Greenland, with Scotland, with South America, just all merged into one. Like you've got this luscious, thick grass and foliage, these huge peaks. Just covers all the bases. But I mean, come on, this is getting ridiculous now, these views. South Georgia, stop it. It's always good to have a reference to see how far you've come, and we've got our ship in the bay down there. Snowy mountains peeking through the clouds, that low light coming in. It's just always worth it. And to mark the occasion, time for a big group photo of everyone who did the hike.
Nothing could prepare us for what was coming next. A landing at St Andrews Bay, known again for its spectacular dramatic landscape and wildlife, in particular for being home to one of the largest king penguin colonies in the world. A short walk away from the landing site promised us a wildlife encounter like no other.
Sometimes you've got to make a little extra effort to get to the good bits.
A colony of 150,000 breeding pairs of king penguins, which alongside chicks equates to up to 500,000 individuals that call this bay home.
This is by far the most awe-inspiring wildlife encounter I've ever had. Even just trying to capture them is challenging because of the sheer volume. There's just so much to see. Every moment you focus in on a group or an individual, you watch them for a bit and then another one comes past, and it's just a constant cycle of individual behaviour within the most large-scale group of one species I've ever seen.
This was an experience I will never forget. A hard place to leave, but thankfully we didn't have long to wait before our next penguin colony.
So welcome to a place called Fortuna Bay. It's actually a perfect example of the variety of landscape that you get in South Georgia. But we're on our way to try and get to another king penguin colony, this time potentially more on eye level, to give a bit of a different experience and maybe feel at one with the penguins.
A fascinating experience observing their behaviour and seeing how the adults interact with each other as well as the chicks. These are incredibly interesting and resilient birds, so a huge privilege to see them in the wild. As you may have seen in part 1, this part of the world is rich in history as well as wildlife, and our next 2 landings allowed us to follow in the footsteps of legends.
Stromness. Never in a million years did I ever think I'd get to visit here. Now, those familiar with the Shackleton endurance story, this is a huge part of that story, because right there over my shoulder is the Stromness whaling station where Shackleton and the others that did the crossing over South Georgia first met any form of civilization for almost 2 years to get rescue to then go and save the people on Elephant Island. That moment, after all of that time trapped in Antarctica, that moment where the story turned from disaster to survival, just happened right there. I'm a bit of a Shackleton and polar explorer nerd and big time enthusiast, so this is a big tick on the old bucket list. So today we've landed on Grytviken, which is a real highlight in any South Georgia exploration because of its human history. Like anywhere in South Georgia, there's an abundance of wildlife. Like right now, I'm looking at probably the best part of 200-300 fur seal pups just lying on this grass, bathing in the sun. But also the human history here is very poignant as well. You know, there's almost a century of whaling that took place in this whaling station behind me. Shackleton's buried here.
To the boss.
There's a church, there's a post office, there's a museum. Definitely one to visit.
South Georgia had left us all completely speechless, but we had one location left before making our way to the Falkland Islands.
New location, Hercules Bay, super atmospheric, misty, rainy, love it.
Landings are a great way to experience locations, but Zodiac explorations like this give us a different perspective and a chance to spot another, slightly more elusive species of penguin, the macaroni.
perfect place and a perfect way to end our time in South Georgia. I mean, absolutely remarkable. Falklands up next. Already can't wait to see what it brings. So after a couple days at sea, we are now quickly approaching our third and final location of this voyage, the Falkland Islands and Stanley. Ahead of us now.
Tucked into a sheltered bay on the edge of the South Atlantic, the capital of the Falkland Islands, Stanley, feels like a slice of Britain at the end of the world. From cathedrals, post boxes and British pubs,
Cheers.
to museums packed with maritime and Antarctic history. An ideal starting point for exploring the islands.
It's interesting, as you walk around, there's so much that is quintessentially British, like the architecture, the road signs, zebra crossings, even the food on the menu in the restaurants. We couldn't really be further from the mainland of the UK. We're talking thousands of miles, but yet Stanley is like a little snapshot of 1980s, 1990s England. But I am crucially aware that this is just one side of what the Falklands has to offer, because the other side is all about the landscape and the wildlife, and that is tomorrow's job. Welcome to West Point on the northwest tip of West Falkland, a beautiful bay that we've just arrived in on what is our last day of activities on this voyage, because tomorrow's a sea day just heading back to Ushuaia. So we've got a full day packed starting here in West Point, but where we really want to head is about 2 kilometers in that direction. The aim being is at the end of this walk, there's a chance to see the nesting ground of some black-browed albatross, a very impressive, huge bird. So it'd be really cool to see them up close in the nesting ground. Maybe the chance to see some other wildlife as well.
This is called Devil's Nose, home to thousands of nesting black-browed albatross. Albatross have lifelong mates and return to the same nests year after year, after soaring the South Atlantic winds with their over 2-metre wingspan.
There are definitely albatross, but what I definitely did not expect to see was so many rock hopper penguins as well.
This was a rare chance to get up close, just metres away, as they raised their chicks alongside the rockhopper penguins. A rare encounter that would be followed by another just a few hours later, when a pod of commersons and hourglass dolphins popped up alongside the ship.
Yes! So cool!
Guiding us into our final landing of the voyage, the excellently named Saunders Island. This is one of the Falklands' hidden gems. A wild, windswept landscape split by 2 sweeping white sand beaches that meet at a narrow spit. So much natural beauty on display and a hotspot for wildlife. Sharing a beach with 4 different species of penguins is a great way to spend our last day exploring. Watching the dolphins in the surf, and eventually making our way up to the cliffs to see more albatross chicks, using the wind to strengthen their wings, ready for their first flight. Accompanied again by rockhopper penguins.
What a spectacular place to end our trip. It's been an amazing couple of weeks, and we're finishing now on this tiny spit between 2 beautiful white beaches surrounded by 4 different types of species of penguin, dolphins in the surf at the beach, and this landscape and weather. I feel like everything has come out for us. We're unbelievably lucky to finish the trip in such an amazing place. And to be fair, with a name like Saunders Island, should you expect anything less?
And just like that, we head back to Ushuaia, with our unforgettable 18-day voyage complete.